really has that sense of he's just so glad to be a part of the event. And it's not as much about like, oh, I need to be the world champion. It's just like, I just love being here.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful.
Let me jump in there quickly. Bloom, hold your thought. Gio and Bloom, this one's ready to go, so continue onwards, and I'm going to exit the building. Everybody, it's Jake Lyons versus Harmless.
Cool. Here we go. Thank you again, Paula, for sending us off. Again, we are starting Game 1, Round 1, moving. Let's get into this. So, straight off the bat, we're looking at what should be a Russia location. So, it's a big country, but they're going to be happy to be moving around. Some indicators of Russia, we have these poles here that have a black bottom and a white top. Not sure if we can see them on any of the players' screens right here. But as well, they'll be looking around and they'll be seeing Russian writing. So let's see what they can find. I'm not sure if either of these players know how to read Cyrillic off the top of my head. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them do, though. So we'll see what they can find.
Yeah, I wonder, you're talking about like Jake just memorizing all the place names. I'm sure that's really helpful for a massive country like Russia. Just to be able to situate yourself. If you're outside of somewhere like Moscow or St. Petersburg, you're in some random place,
Yeah, definitely comes into handy. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly the places he knows the most, like random cities in, but I know that he just, generally speaking, knows a lot of random places.
That thing he was looking at there just said something commission, so...
Yeah, that could be helpful.
It could be some, like, important building, or not, I guess.
Pretty far apart from each other, but Harmless much closer. That's a sad way to start a bit for Jake there, taking quite a bit of points down on round 1. Not the greatest way to start for Jake, but I think he can keep his confidence here going into round 2.
Hey, we've seen these tiles before.
We have seen these tiles before. They're common in a couple places, mainly Brazil though, but also Ecuador. So I think right now this is an Ecuador location. Off the top of my head, of what we're seeing, of what the players are seeing, Harmless is zooming in somewhere. I did miss where he was looking at, but yeah, he's in Quito, so he is in Ecuador there, and he's just sending the guess, so that's putting some pressure on Jake here to get a guess in. He's going Ecuador as well, but not Quito, farther south. It is just a bit north of Quito, so Harmless is going to be happy getting some more points, staying at full health as we go into round 3.
Jake's lost a decent number of points so far, kind of early in here, so he's going to need some healthy guesses in the next few to be able to bring that back up.
No, definitely. As we get them into the round here, 3 on Australia. By the looks of it, we have some Australia bollards straight off the bat. These little white bollards with the red strip facing the left side on the left side drive. So they should know the country here. But yeah, Jake almost at half health, and it's only round 3. Really needs to come back. Big country, could be a chance here.
Yeah, we had this conversation earlier about in Australia, that can be like the make or break country.
No, definitely. There are a couple countries where you get them with high multis and anything can really happen. They're just so large. Is
there anything that specifically tells you, what state we're in?
In Australia, there are certain things that can help, but in cases like that is a bummer. That ends the game on round 3. Jake a little disappointed in that performance. It happens though, Jake. No worries. It happens to the best of us. Harmless is locked in though. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, there are certain indicators for different areas. Oh, Jake doesn't look too happy. But he'll do it. I believe in him.
It's not over yet.
It's not over. You got some more rounds.
But this is one thing. I mean, we talk about this is the first World Cup. It's the first LAN that we've had for GeoGuessr, and actually being able to see the emotion of the players throughout that. It's one of the best things about esports in general, and just it's the same as what you get out of sports, and actually seeing that it matters to people, and seeing that this is something they put so much of their time into to get good at, and that it matters to them. It's such a meaningful part of the process, even if it's not nice to see a player get upset.
Yeah, it does show how much they care, and Jake has been putting in so much work, and regardless, at the end of the day, he's got to remember he made it here, and just to do that alone, you are one of the best in the world.
To see where he's actually
in the room.
I want to give him a hug.
I know, me too, really badly. I'd love to give him some support. Hopefully he can take a second. Harmless is chilling and gonna grab some water, but
he's just got to not put it on himself and not beat yourself up over it. Okay, yeah, maybe it wasn't how you wanted that round to go, especially if you are quite good at moving.
Yeah.
You know, he probably envisioned it going kind of differently. He's had a rough bracket so far, and we've spoken at length about how this really is the group that is just, it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
A hard group.
But you just kind of have to, it's so much easier said than done, but you have to try and just put it out of mind and just focus at the task at hand. In this case, it's going to be our no moving round.
Yep. Yeah.
And just see what you can do with it.
Yeah, and we are ready to get into it now. As hard as it is right now, I believe in Jake to make the most of this and have some fun, and let's get them started. But here we should...
I think his mum's actually here as well.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Straight off the bat, I think this is an Argentina round. Not a lot to go off of, and again, our players aren't moving now as we are in game 2 of this match. But they seem locked in. Jake seems like he's ready to go again. He's collected himself. He looks focused. And we'll see how they fare here. So, should be an Argentina, maybe a Uruguay, just based off of the vegetation and these types of kind of sporadic trees. However, it should be Argentina. We do have a white center line, which doesn't happen in Uruguay. And can happen in Argentina sometimes. So, Jake is in there, kind of centralish near Buenos Aires, just sending it. Harmless going way up north. Hard to say. There's really not a lot of information here, and a lot of flat, central-ish Argentina can just look relatively similar. But they are super close, and Jake gets
has
the lead.
He has that lead now.
He has the lead.
Hopefully that's going to build him up. That's got to, right? You like a good start on the next set of games, and you know, maybe that will stop him kind of like beating himself up a little bit.
No, definitely that'll feel good. And also, I mean, Harmless was quite far north and just last second moved it. But you know, doing well. Jake's doing well. That's a good way to start. Let's get into round 2 here, as we should be looking at an Indonesia. We have a flag. Flag
helps.
Flag always helps. So good to see. However, Indonesia, massive country. So we'll see there are a lot of oil palms. Oil palms are generally more common on Sumatra Island and Borneo Island. However, sometimes on Sulawesi as well. It's these big, huge, massive palm trees that we see that are kind of short as well, the oil palms. So we'll see. There's not too much to go off of. There are some players who have learned the differences between certain poles, like very slight distinctions in Indonesia between poles and things like that, that some players do know. We see Harmless looking at one right now. But we'll see what happens. Jake is on the Borneo Island in west.
I was curious because obviously I don't know what those signs say, but if there were any clues that would allow him to tap into the kind of like place name knowledge, but judging by the way he's looking at the map, I'm not entirely sure.
Wow! And Jake with such an incredible guess, Harmless on the wrong island. He takes down 3,400 points from, oh my gosh.
So in the moving round, when we were like, oh, we're in like the 3 times already, and like Jake's halfway down, this is even worse.
Yeah, this is worse. Yeah, this is round 3 and Harmless is at 2,000. Oh my god. But again, anything can happen. We are in our next round. Looks to be Japan straight off the bat. We'll see what the players can ascertain from this round. There is a pole here in front of us that we see some of the players looking at with a little plate. We see Jake zooming in on that small little plate. Certain plates on poles can be specific to certain areas of Japan. So that should help them narrow down the guess if they know they're Japanese plates, but we will see.
Definitely a very rural area.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm stating the obvious there, but
it's true,
obviously it is.
It's true, and Japan can be very difficult. It was something that really until within the last almost less than a year, region guessing almost seemed impossible.
Right.
To pretty much every player. It didn't matter how good you were, and recently people discovered those plates that I was just talking about, and I've been learning them. But we'll see where our players go. They're both zooming in the same time, both going similar.
Kind of.
Central.
Getting a bit of movement from Harmless here. He's gone a little bit further south than his original guess.
Yeah. We'll see.
He moved it at the last second.
Oh, and Jake keeping his lead. Wait, but how much is that? Wow.
Okay, Harmless is still alive.
Yeah,
He's still
Harmless is
alive.
still alive.
But he's got to be feeling the pressure of this. I mean, we've been talking a lot about Jake because obviously the end of the moving round, that was really devastating for him. But now Harmless is probably the one who's sat there being like, okay, I need to do something.
I need to step up.
Something has to change.
So, yeah, let's see what they can do here. I mean, this is, it is stressful. But here we should be looking at a turkey. We have a Gen 4 white car with an antenna, which is unique to Turkey. But as well, there's some chevrons in the distance that are red and white, which are very indicative of Turkey. And these, yeah, just a general, there's some other indicators as well, but should be Turkey. It's pretty green, so that can take out a decent chunk of the country. It should be like farther north, considering it's more green. But hard to say. They might try and look and see if they can line something up like this, because this does look like a pretty distinct-ish location, very big highway, and then an overpass over it. Could be something findable, but...
Yeah, that seems to be what Harmless is doing at the moment. He's just trying to, like, see if the shape of the intersection is matching what he's looking at.
Yeah. With only a minute, though, it would take some serious luck to just randomly find the right one. But we'll see what ends up happening here.
It's not unheard of.
It's not unheard of. That's for sure. That's for sure.
That definitely has happened.
So... their guesses are a little different, and Jake, look at that celebration. Oh yeah, he takes the game with that guess. Flawlessing Harmless on no move.
You can see he like bit his fist before then, because he was like, I don't know. Oh.
He feels good
it's
off
the
that. Yeah, look at that.
My man's redemption arc is gonna happen.
Oh, he's feeling himself. Oh my God, that takes us to the tiebreaker. Wow. That is such an exciting way to have the no-move game go, Jake.
He's going to be like one of those villains that like needs to get to the very brink of being out of everything before it all comes back. I don't know, maybe I'm selling this too hard, but like that was such a good round.
Think about him before this happened. It was the low point.
Yeah.
And he took it. He had that great first guess and just ran with it.
I mean, if, you know... obviously, we'll have to see how the NMPZ round goes. Which, first of all, I want to point out the fact that we've been fortunate enough to consistently go as far as to see the NMPZ rounds is really fun. But, like, obviously, we'll see how that goes first. But if he ends up being the person that we speak to here on the couch, like, I just need to know. I need to know what the flip was, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, now it's going to be Harmless's turn to be doing that for himself.
Yeah.
Like, he's now at that sort of tipping point. He's already had a loss that he probably didn't expect today against Lenley. He doesn't want to be having a second one.
Yeah. Harmless is, he's now in the position to be like, oh, I got to turn this around. It's now my time to be the underdog and turn that around. He just got flawless by Jake. So that's an interesting way to head into our game 3. No moving, panning, or zooming. All they get is the image. Let's start it up. So straight away here,
there's so much information in this image.
There's so much going on. It looks like we should be in India, if I had to guess. Just with the mixed languages and everything, makes the most sense here. But this is all the players get. They just get this image. Harmless is zooming in up north. But yeah, not a lot to work off of in terms of whether or not any of this is necessarily recognizable. Jake is close up. He's holding his mouth. Oh, he's so in it. Harmless almost looks unfazed. He's just like, yeah, I'll guess there.
I love that because I mean, even after that last round where he lost, he still looked pretty collected in himself. So very, very different sorts of reactions. Oh, that's a close one. Yeah,
they guessed very close, so that's really not too bad. I mean, no one can be too happy or sad about that. That's just two similar guesses. But let's get them into round 2. Let's just keep it moving here. Again, I mentioned earlier these solid yellow singular lines are very common in Canada and not in the US. So yeah, very, very indicative of a Canada here with the winter coverage.
Yeah, it's kind of a vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of beautiful. But you got a little bridge. Not a lot to go off of though, because winter coverage is a little rarer, so it's harder to guess exactly where this is. They're guessing not too far away from each other, so let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even like look at their trees. I never remember the name, but like they lose leaves. They're not evergreen trees.
Yeah.
Which you get a lot in the Pacific Northwest. So
yeah. Well, Harmless does get closer again there as we go into round 3. So Jake is down about 1,000 points. Not too bad. Could be much worse. Let's get them into round 3 here. Again, all they're getting is the image. This is not too much to go off of. If I had to make a guess, I would say like, northern Spain, maybe a South France, something along those lines would be my educated guess. But we'll see what the players end up doing and where they end up going. Difficult to say the least. There's not a lot to go off of. You do have Generation 4 camera. You have a bit of a house there. And some vegetation and things like that.
I mean, I don't know a lot about Spain, but I've spent enough time in France to at least know stone like that is fairly common.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if in Spain it is or isn't. So yeah, there's my input.
Yeah, there's definitely some similarities with the north of Spain and the south of France. They have they share some things. Jake in France and Harmless in the north of Spain, and it is the north of Spain. With 2 times, that is 3,300 health. Now Harmless, the one continuing to be on full health, while Jake is the one taking the damage. The roles have flipped.
He's still in it.
It's not
over yet. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, let's get into round 4. So, round 4 here, based off of this architecture, looks like a Bolivia or a Peru. Hard to tell with just this. The players might know there is a sign here. I'm not sure how much they can read from that. We do see Harmless doing the human zoom, getting in real close. Jake looking at La Paz guess in Bolivia. Oh yeah, it does.
Which is kind of obscure.
Harmless in Potosi. Okay, let's see how this goes here as our time dwindles out. Jake! On it!
Oh, wow.
6.3 kilometers away.
Actually, like, look, I guess he couldn't zoom in on the sign, so he probably couldn't read it. But there's a lot of information about the place on there. Yeah. That's why I was, like, leaning in to have a look.
Yeah, those signs usually do have a lot, but again, with the NPC,
you can't zoom.
They couldn't take a look.
Unless he just has insane eyesight.
Yeah, just, like... Enhance the graphics of the screen. Amazing. Let's get into round 5. Jake's going to be happy about that. That is quite a decent bit of points, actually, off of Harmless, even though Harmless still has the lead. So, straight off the bat here, by the looks of it, we should be in Colombia. As we can see on their screens there, they have a short little stubby antenna and what looks like a black car, combined with the poles and everything, and this architecture. Very distinct Colombia look. So that short, stubby pole, like a little antenna there, many different countries have short antennas like this, but that specific short one is in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and Brazil. So that's a good indicator, helps narrow things down as well as the general vibe of this location. Gives them Colombia. Too close guess. Jake a little bit closer. Oh, he's happy. Look at that. A little bit of relief. That's 500 points off.
Chipping
Not
away.
too bad. As we get to round 6, straight off the bat, I don't think the players are going to be too happy about this. This, to me, seems like an India in the middle of nowhere or a Nigeria in the middle of nowhere. 2 very different, but for some reason, the camera quality looks similar in those 2 countries in certain respects.
Harmless going straight in on Nigeria.
Yeah, Harmless is straight in on Nigeria, which makes sense. I think looking longer, Nigeria has got to be the call. My initial India call, I think, should be thrown out. But let's see. I think it should be Nigeria, though. Jake got the hand on the mouth, on the edge of his seat, Harmless, confident, hasn't moved his guess. He's just taking another look at the location. Let's see if he commits. He does it.
Down to the last 12 seconds.
Yeah,
It's gonna go somewhere.
He's got it too. Nigeria as well. They both guessed. And Jake!
No way!
Wait, that's going to be a lot of points. That's going to be the game.
Oh my God!
Jake wins. What? Jake takes the dub. Look at him. Oh my God. Jake Lyons, ladies and gentlemen, somehow pulls it out. Look at the relief.
Oh my God. That entire NMPZ game, he just like, his hand was over his mouth the whole time. He looked like he was going to vomit, to be quite honest with you. Like, think about his reaction at the end of the moving round.
Yeah, oh my God, the look on his face, he was defeated, and
he can't even believe it. He cannot believe it.
He takes it, yeah. Throw your fist in the air, Jake. Feel happy about that W. Well deserved, well earned. But seriously, fair play to Harmless too. I mean, like, it really was a close match through and through.
I mean, look at his reaction. Like, he honestly, he's probably just like, you know what, fair enough. Like, you did it.
Yeah, it is what it is. You did it. You did it. You know what I mean?
Harmless crumbles as the Lion roars. That meant so much to Jake. A well-deserved victory. Yeah, and guys, it all came down to a very tense NMPZ.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of those today, and they're so exciting. Getting to the NMPZ rounds, it's really anything can happen.
Yeah, you think like, oh, you know, they're best of threes. Like, there's no guarantee we're going to get to NMPZ. And we've had them on every single round here for Group D.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of goes back to that testament that all of the players are close enough in skill that we can even get there. But I feel very lucky that we've been able to have that because, like, they're the most exciting rounds.
This is something I'm a bit familiar with, thanks to the qualifier, Bloom, that so many of these matches are very back and forth and they're very close.
Yeah. You just put it in this environment and everything changes. It's like really anything can happen when you're in the first, like, really competitive scene. Anything can go on.
And now what's going on? We've got the man himself on the sofa. Everyone give it up for Jake Lyons.
Jake, man.
Has experienced every emotion under the sun in the last hour.
Every single one.
Yeah,
I'm
Jake, you've still got a lot to do, but I can see how much that one win really means to you, mate. What's going through your head right now? What are you feeling?
So many things. I'm just relieved because I feel like the first couple of matches, I mean, you know, I don't have like huge expectations for myself at the tournament, but the one thing I wanted to do was play well. And the first couple of matches, I just felt like I didn't really do that. I didn't really show kind of my full potential. And then after the moving game in that match, I was like, oh man, this is just going to happen again. But I guess I...
Yeah, tell us about what it was specifically between the moving game and the no moving game that changed in your head. Because we saw your reaction at the end of the moving game. You were devastated. And then just something changed.
I don't know, because that's the thing. I think I have a comparative advantage when it comes to moving compared to most of the players here. So, you know, that's, especially against someone like Harmless, that's the match I kind of need to win in my head, you know. So it hurt, but I think I just figured, like, you know, I mean, there's no use giving up, right? I just gotta, you know, I gotta lock in and just do my thing and hope the rounds are favorable enough, and yeah, it happened.
So Jake, going by what you mentioned, is it more important for you here just to perform to your expectations as opposed to get a specific placing?
Yeah. I don't. Again, I'm not putting that much pressure on myself in terms of how I place in the tournament. Overall, the field is insanely stacked. There's so many great players here. There's no shame in losing to any of them. But I just want to make guesses that I'm proud of. I don't want to make a fool of myself. You know, I just want to walk away and think that, like, I played well, and that's all I can really ask for. So this, I think, hopefully was a turning point. Yeah.
Well, you're here, mate. You definitely can't make a fool of yourself. Don't worry about that. Well, one other question I have before I throw it to Geo and Bloom. Do you feel any extra pressure being a content creator, knowing that your own audience is behind you, mate?
A little bit, to be honest. Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, there's a lot of people rooting for me. I've been reading their messages all day, and it's like I'm getting messages from all kinds of people, just like cheering me on, and it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but like it certainly adds to the pressure, and it's not like the pressure was light in the first place. So it's a lot, but I'm grateful for the community, and they're so supportive and fantastic, and I love them. So yeah, really glad I could do him proud in that game.
Geo and Bloom, anything else you'd like to ask Jake before we let him go?
Yeah, how do you feel after doing that whole series? So Jake did a series on his YouTube channel where he 1v1'd every player who's here. And do you feel like that was like a good prep for this and made you feel good?
Wait, what was the scoreline like at the end of that series?
Did you beat Harmless?
I played best of fives against every single player except Jupa because he couldn't make it.
Okay.
But 2 2 players, it was best of 5s. 2 players beat me 5-0, Blinky and Harmless.
Okay.
So Harmless destroyed me in the series. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So I was out for revenge.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So doing that here was special.
It was special. Yeah. And I lost track. What was the other question that was asked?
I think that was mine.
Something about the series.
Oh yeah, the series overall. Yeah, so I finished. So out of the 22 players that I played, I won, I believe, 13 games out of 22.
Solid.
Which is solid. It was a lot better than I expected, to be
Yeah.
honest. I was kind of just hoping for a winning record, but yeah, I had solid showings against everyone, and I guess if nothing else, I think I proved that I deserve to be here, which is a good feeling. Yeah, but it was a super fun series. I was really glad it worked out, and a lot of the players as well have told me it was really fun for them to watch, and it was fantastic. I was glad I was able to do it.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you off, Gio. We're being pushed towards a break. Is there anything that you would like to say quickly before we leave, though, Jake?
Oh boy. Unfortunately, I don't have anything ready. Yeah, not sure.
Okay, no
Thank you,
problem.
everyone, for the support. I appreciate you all. You're all the best, and yeah. It's just glad to have won that match.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Jake. We'll be seeing more from you later. That'll be it.